Hello everyone and welcome. A very quick build video today. I'm releasing a couple of our escalation builds over the next few days. We're going to start with the refactor one. We are streaming escalation pretty much every day, farming proto cards, and one of the number one questions is what build is Stacy running, Lady Rock. So I'm on her account now to show you the build she's running, explain the build quickly. No gameplay today, unfortunately. I just want to keep it quick for you guys. Let me remove my face cam and we'll go over the build, just so if you want to replicate it, I'll explain what we're doing in our strategy and things like that. A lot of people would run the refactor a lot differently, but this is how we run it. I'm just going to make the screen darker there. There we go. So this is the build that we are running in our stream. I'm going to set this on a command, so when you ask what build you're running, you can see it. I do have a prototype version of this in mind, and we'll release that when we get there, once we've built it, and maybe discuss a little bit of that before we end this video. But this is it. It doesn't need to be prototype at all. It's a key part of our strategy. And yeah, we start with the technician specialization. That can be changed to survivalist for sure. Go survivalist with the fire grenades. That's going to work nice. The crossbow to help crack Chunga's chests. We haven't done that yet on Stacy's build, so still technician from how this was set up previously. Maybe an adjustment we'd make before prototyping it. The weapon choice that we use is Scorpio shotgun. We go the lefty as a secondary, just for the perfect sledgehammer there. Nothing else matters on that. The Scorpio, Stacy's got to just basically proc the enemies that are high priority. If they're tanky or something like that on escalation, we're going to do more damage. It's also going to stagger them and slow them down with the pushing and things like that. So that's why we use the Scorpio. And the sledge, just switch to this, throw out a grenade to hit like a spawn or hit a tankier enemy, a high priority enemy. Give the team extra damage. That's why we're using that. Quick step as a sidearm really doesn't matter, I'd normally say. However, Stacy really does say she likes this. You'll see as we go through the build now, the birdie's backpack is on there. If she needs to quickly get to a down teammate, she'll equip this, run to them very quickly, and she'll get them up as fast as possible. And that can be clutch in certain situations on escalation. Now, the 4 pieces of refactor, we're going mask, and we're going skill damage with a skill-aced mod. We are going gloves, again, skill damage with a skill-aced, skill damage with a skill tier there on the core attribute. The gloves are going to come naturally with a blue roll, so you are going to need to get skill damage on these to roll skill tier. But if you're going to go with technician, one of these 2 pieces, gloves or knee pads, could be blue in theory because you get the extra skill tier from technician, which is how we used to have it set up. Knee pads, same again. It's going to be skill damage. It will have an armor core as standard on the knee pads for a factor, so you need to get skill damage on them to roll skill tier. Then the holster, this comes with skill tier like the mask, so just roll skill damage on that. And that's the 4 refactor pieces sorted. Now the birdie's backpack is absolutely key to our strategy and build. Now the only reason we're using this, not for any of the stats again, obviously the skill tier, but it is going to be for the 80% revive speed. So basically, as a refactor in our strategy, you are the person to get people up. If you can't get someone up, we might use our hives, but we're going to ignore downs. We're going to let the refactor get them up super, super quick, get it back in the action and back shooting their gun. So that's why we use this. There's a skill haste mod on there as well, but that's the main reason. We don't really care about anything else about the birdies apart from that, so it's the main reason for using it. And the recent change to the refactor build that we've done is we brought in a new chess piece. We were using a refactor chess piece beforehand, and people are saying, why aren't you using a refactor chess piece? It's important for refactor. In our strategy, the healing isn't the most important thing. We've explained this in the streams. Healing is important that we have it. I don't really care about how strong the healing is as long as I've got a heal. I can quickly go and heal, cover, wait for the heals to come back and just take a few seconds to get my health back and things like that. I'll throw out a decoy, and the healing strength ain't that important. So with that said, we switched it to a wyvern chess piece. This is giving us some more skill damage anyway, but then skill tier, skill damage, and skill haste as the rolls. A skill haste mod there, and we're throwing empathic resolve on there, so repairing an ally increases the total weapon damage and skill damage by 3 to 15% for 20 seconds, 1 to 7 if self, and the effectiveness is increased by a skill tier. So as long as you're 6 skill tier, which is you're going to be giving your teammates 15% more damage every time you heal them, which is pretty much all of the time. Very, very good talent to have, I think. We're basically boosting a DPS in the build with that, and we're healing all the time, and that's what we went with. And this is the build she's using. Now, the skill choice, what we use the skills for, which I think is one of the most important part of the role in our escalations, is as decoys above all else. Like the turret, striker turret, assault turret rather, absolutely key. And even the striker drone is absolute key. So what Stacey's doing while she's playing is she's finding the best position to put her turret in every area that we do, to act as a decoy, also to give heals. And then the drone she's sending out, but also for the drone, what she's going to be doing is if there is a high priority target and they're pushing or anything like that, she can set the drone on them. Hopefully it's not a pulsar to take it out, but then that drone will just keep them distracted enough so the DPS can take them out into clutch situations. And this is the setup we go with, and that's kind of like the most important thing of the role that Lady Rock Stacy is doing, is just finding the best positions for her skills, the right times in each area, picking us up when we go down, giving us heals, and a bit of crowd control of the guns. Because in Escalation right now, crowd control builds ain't really a thing with status effect and that because how they work, the mutators. However, this is a way of doing crowd control with this build while healing your squad and giving your squad more damage. And it's been working great. If you've been watching the streams, we have been absolutely smashing tier 10s. We're farming tier 10s. And this is why you guys are asking us how we are doing it. There's loads of different ways you can do it. So I'm sure in the comment section, you might say, well, we do this, we do this. That's fine. If you're farming tier 10s like we are and you're doing something different, it's working. It doesn't matter what you're doing. This is something we've came up. So far in our Escalation tier 10 journey, we've been 2 DPS, 1 FI healer, 1 refactor. We've been 2 refactor builds, 2 DPS, which I have to say has been very comfortable at times. But now we get a little bit more powerful with our prototype builds. We've gone to 3 DPS and 1 refactor is what we're currently doing. We'll adjust per mission. We'll change things up and whatnot. But right now, this is the refactor build. It's so crucial in our strategy. It's the build she's using. And when you ask me, I can now do exclamation mark Stacey's build. And you can just see this video and have a quick overview of it. So that's the purpose of releasing this today. But before we end, there's 2 more things you're probably thinking. What are you using as the modifiers for this season? If you're watching this at the time of the current season, which is recombinant, we are using as a team optimize overload. Let's take the cam off one more time. So optimize overload. Every time you proc this, you are going to be putting your skills on overcharge, but also reducing your skill cooldown. This is very good for this build right now. Highly recommended for the refactor. If you want to do something else, I guess you can. But I feel this works well. And Stacey hasn't unlocked all the passives yet, so I'm just getting the skill damage as high as I can. You can do the passives however you want to get the skill damage as high as you can. The reason for that is just some better heals. So although it's not the most important thing, like I said, you might as well work to it here. I don't know what else you'd really work towards here, if I'm being honest with you, on the refactor build. You just want as high skill damage as possible. Stacey currently's just got amplify utility and consume utility, giving a 31% skill damage. If she had everything unlocked, I'd set that up. I think it goes up to 56%, I'm guessing. I don't know. You can get it higher than that for sure, though. And then finally, prototype. What am I going to do when I prototype this build? Well, I've been giving this a lot of thought, and what we think we're going to do when we prototype this is make one more change, and we are going, well, I'm going to tell you what, we're going to do what I told you earlier on. We're going to take the technician out and bring in a survivalist for the fire nades. Not only that, it's going to give your team extra damage against targets with status applied to them. We're going to do that. Secondly, we're going to drop the wyvern chest and change it. I think it's an electric chest that gives one piece electric gives you status effect. We're going to throw that on, and we're going to have status effect and skill damage on that as attributes. And we're going to keep empathic resolve. And once we've done that, we're going to get this fully prototyped. Now, in theory, we could remove some skill tiers here, bring in red or blue. Probably just got to keep the 6 skill tiers, even though it takes it well over the 6. It doesn't really matter. People have been asking, what are you going to go with? 2 red, 2 blue? I don't know. None of it really matters with how we're using this in Escalation at all. So I might just keep it as a 6 skill tier build, even though that goes over the 6 skill tiers with prototype, just so if ever she wants to run a capacitor on this in different more casual modes or whatever, throw a capacitor on and take full advantage of more skill tiers, maybe. I don't know. That's not important, no. What is important is the augment. Like, what augment we're going to put on it. We're going to be getting more skill damage out of the build as well, which is good for heals when we prototype it. But the augment we're going to add is the one, I forget the name of it, it's the one that gives you chance of proccing a status on enemies. So when we're thinking of what are the purposes of this build, slowing down a push, slowing down a a high priority target. The Scorpio does that in a way, but to have a chance of putting a enemy on status effect with that augment, we're going to get that rolled everywhere we can. So across the 5 pieces here, and we'll level them up and give Stacy a very good chance of just making targets go on a status effect by shooting them. We've discussed loads. We've discussed the immunity one. That would also be a good one. We've discussed the self-healing one where your skills will heal yourself more. That would be a good one. There's loads you could do with the augments, but I think I'm set in stone to turning this a little bit more crowd control. We're going to do that. Stacey likes the sound of that. I asked for her feedback. She's kind of like, I'm quite good at staying alive. I don't think healing myself is, I know if I take my time, I'll stay up. So the immunity and the healing didn't really seem that important. So from our DPS perspective, if we can turn this even more into a crowd control build and more crowd control out of it and get more damage out of it as well with survivalist, then that's going to be very good. Now that might change before we actually prototype this and we do the next video showing you the prototype version. But right now, if you're looking to replicate what we're doing on stream with tier 10s, this is the refactor build. Hope I've answered all of the questions there for you. I feel like I've discussed everything of relevance. It's just practice, and yeah, that this is what we're doing, and this is what Lady Rock is using. And I know you're asking for her perspective. We're working on getting her streaming on my second channel so you see her perspective as well, which she's playing with us. That's something we'll get done as soon as we can. A little bit of internet issues, things like that. We'll get it done, though. You can start watching her instead of me. But thank you for watching this. If there's any questions whatsoever, comment down below. Don't forget to like the video. Let's get loads of likes for Lady Rock on this one. Loads of you asking for the build, and you're giving her a lot of rep in this live stream chat, so thanks for that. Don't forget to subscribe for more. I'm going to be putting my DPS build out probably tomorrow, so that'll be on the channel as well if you want to see what we're using for DPS. But thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.